Hello there, and welcome into another edition of the Blue Cavalry, a Dallas Mavericks basketball podcast. We are celebrating a Mavs victory, the first home victory since I don't know when.
2015,
Mavericks tie.
baby.
2015.
Mavericks tie the Utah Jazz 1-1 in this first round playoff series versus the Utah Jazz. Jalen Brunson becomes one of the elite Mavericks to get a 40-point game in the playoffs. But the Mavericks win 110-104, knotting everything up at 1. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man.
Amazing.
I wanna say I'm eating crow because I was completely negative about going into game 2, and I just always do that, man. I'm more of a realist, so I prepare for the worst, and until I see something phenomenal like I did on Monday night. So very very excited, and I'm sorry. I want to apologize for not believing.
And we need to stop all the Maxi Kleba slander immediately because this motherfucker knows when to turn it up. Because 8 fucking threes, man. I am sorry for my language, but my God, that is amazing. And he couldn't have picked a better game. He really couldn't have. Because, I mean, JB stepped up to the plate. He saw all the slander that was given to him in the first game. None of it coming from me, of course, but it's. I mean,
The ultimate homer over here.
I am because see, and I was just saying this to you guys prior to us recording that we should be a lottery team. This team, without even KP, we should be a lottery team. But this team doesn't play just off of Luka. We play together as a team, and we're brought into the system. We're playing off of Coach Kidd, and we're just a well-rounded team and better coach team, to be honest with you. And I think I'm still gonna stay with my prediction: Mavs in 7.
Yeah, let's turn up that locked on intro where Lucas says, "If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here."
Yep, absolutely.
I didn't believe.
It's okay, man. I mean,
Man.
we have history to back us up on not believing, but at the same time, this team has proved to us throughout the season to not count them out, and that's exactly what I told Josh Green. Even without Luka, I still think we can play well and compete with the Jazz, or even be better than the Jazz, because the Jazz have no shooters. That we play, we saw in the first game, we shut down Donovan Mitchell for 2 points in the first half, but the Jazz made some adjustments. We kept up, but Spencer Dinwiddie missed 6 free throws and we lost by 6. So I had great optimism coming into game 2, and they proved me right once again after seeing this game.
So, guys, Jalen Brunson had 41 points. He went 15 of 25 from the floor, 6 of 10 from 3. He was blazing hot. I think that the three-pointer is something he's quietly been adding to his game. Late during the season, you could see like some spurts where he would get hot from 3. But did this performance get him the bag, basically? How much do you guys think this performance alone is going to affect his pay, his new contract?
He's a $20 million player. I think this game kind of solidified it. I think this is one of the games that it's gonna live on Mavs history for a long time. I mean, I think this performance here is like right along with what Vince Carter did when he hit that game winner, what Dirk did when he scored 48 points against Oklahoma. One of the best games I've ever watched in my life. I mean, it's gonna go out there with like Corey Brewer. You know, those like legendary moments, like small moments that fans are gonna always hold up to.
And absolutely, this is something as a Mavs fan that I will never forget. I will never forget this game because there was so much pressure coming into this game, and we as a team stepped up. Maxi, JB, Spencer Dinwiddie had four early fouls, and he wasn't all that great, but he came through with 17 points, especially in the clutch. You saw him draw those fouls driving into the paint, and to answer your question, Andres, I think he's a 25 million plus player.
Oh, 25.
Especially after, I think that's what the Mavericks are going to give him. Seriously, because this all goes back to his days back in Villanova where he won 2 championships. And that kind of poise as a player and as a professional is very rare. And to put up a performance like that in a playoff game when you with your superstar missing against a great offensive team and defensive team like the Jazz, it's truly unbelievable. I still stand by it. I think Jalen Brunson is gonna get paid 25 mil plus, and that game was on national television, only to back me up in my statement because everybody took notice of Jalen Brunson's performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the way the buckets he got in a timely manner, like when the Mavs needed it most, he came to the rescue. Late in the fourth quarter, he would get a bucket, or he would find someone for an open three. And Dorian Finney-Smith too, and Maxi Kleber too. Just Dorian had a rough game to start, but he made timely threes as well. When the Mavs needed it, and then Maxi as well too. 8 of 11 from 3 for 25 points, coming back from the dead. Whenever the Mavs were struggling and just kind of getting over that hump to finally get the lead in the game or tie the game, like it would be Maxi coming in with a 3. But it's all leading from Jalen Brunson. Like I think Jalen Brunson set the tone, and he was just so very special. He was a leader last night. Excuse me. He was a leader last night. He was effective in communicating to his teammates and being the example of making tough shots and not giving up, keep persevering and hitting, basically everything he put up. Just insane. He was doing heat checks all over the game, and a lot of them were going in. It was just truly one of the best games I've ever seen from a Maverick. That's including, Luka Doncic and Dirk games. It was just that methodical and that, that he had like everything planned out. Night and day from game one. Game one, I feel like the whole team had like a jitter. They had like this kind of energy, like crap, like, this is a big stage. And I felt like everybody was kind of, not themselves. And this game, I think the only person still feeling that way is Josh Green.
Yeah.
So I think everybody kind of like calmed down, and I think everybody kind of got into the rhythm and kind of like came to the acceptance, like, we are this team. We are badass. We are going to make our statement. And I think that's all led by Jalen Brunson. You saw him like talking to everybody. You saw him like just being a different type of player, and it showed in
being a true point guard,
performance.
because being a point guard, you're naturally a leader, but this guy has the accolades to back up for him being a leader. I mean, you saw like what you were saying, Andres, like he took timely shots. He knew when it was his time to score. Even when we were up, the Jazz were still fighting back with less than 2 minutes. And that's another thing about this team, our resiliency. Normally, if we go up, by 3 points with 2 minutes to go, normally you'd see the Mavs just diminish that lead, and the Jazz would just come back to take that win. But you didn't see that this game. You saw the Mavs just competing to the end, fighting, and and that's different, and it's a whole new spectrum of what we've seen in the past with this team. And you have now Jalen Brunson, who, I mean, like I said, is going to get paid, and you have him putting up a fantastic performance. You have everybody working in sync, and to in Josh Green's defense, he plays amazing defense. I mean, at one point you saw in game one that he was matched up with Rudy Gobert, because you saw with Rudy, it's easy to defend him. You just trap him and you throw a bunch of hands in him. He's easy to lose the ball. That's why you don't see him scoring that much offensively, because I think the Mavs have figured out that kind of offense, that kind of defense, and that's what's helped us, to barely lose in game one and to take this commanding win in game two, is our defense, our defensive tactics, how we were able to make changes, and how Jalen Brunson down in the stretch, he knew that he wasn't going to try to facilitate the ball and rotate. He knew that the Mavs needed to score, and he stepped up to the plate big time.
Yeah, like even his trash talking, like it was just like you just saw it, like he had it, like he was just like that dude. And like he wouldn't get calls, and he would like be pissed off, and he would just keep going. It was very like a very Kobe-esque, like just FU performance.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Danny.
I was gonna say it felt like Luka possessed Jalen Brunson.
Exactly. Yes.
Like the way he was playing, the way he came out, I was like, this is exactly what Luka does. Especially like in the first quarter, he went off for what was it, like 10, 15 points?
Yeah.
In the first quarter, and he had a heat check.
I think he made like 3 threes in the first quarter.
Yeah, 3 threes. That heat check that I thought was gonna go in, it's just like he came out firing from all cylinders, and he knew that the Mavs were gonna live and die with him, and that's how Luka feels every time he steps on the floor. So he took that role and played an incredible game.
Danny, you saw this game. Like, how did you feel about the? I'm sorry to interrupt, but how did you feel about the fans, Danny? Like,
no,
were you as disappointed as me?
No,
I'm
for game two, the fans were there. For game two, the fans were there, but game one, it was
game one.
No.
I mean, I only ask because when I saw, in the first 2 quarters, the fans weren't there. I'm sorry, it was just the look of down, especially when we were playing defense. They weren't really in it, and towards the second half, when that started, that's when you started to see everybody come alive, because that's when we started playing great. But I don't know, man. A lot of casuals out there, I'll tell you that.
It's playoff basketball, baby.
As the price of the tickets goes up, the more casuals there are.
but you guys saw, like, they were trying to, a lot of people were trying to sell their tickets as soon as they saw Luka wasn't playing. That hurts. That really hurts.
I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't want to go if Luka's playing.
I honestly, I was gonna go to game one, but I was gonna go to game two actually, but I saw the tickets. It was $60 for a ticket, but then after the service fees and everything, it's all literally a little close to under $100, and that's for a really bad nosebleed seat. So I think I would have much rather watched it in my house.
Honestly, like during the regular season, the Mavs fans always disappoint. Like it is just like brutal disappointment every time I go. Nobody's really into it.
Everybody's there for Luka.
They get more hyped when they throw the stupid T-shirts in the stands. They get more hyped for that than any point during the game. But during the playoffs, I feel like they do come out. Last year, I went to all 3 games. We lost all 3 games. That's why I'm deciding to take a seat this year. But I will say that they do have a better energy. Like it's a way better atmosphere, and they're more loud. But yeah, I see what you mean. Like it's not like Utah, right? Like Utah actually has a game-changing home court advantage.
Because it's like OKC too. They don't have any other professional team, so everyone's just bought into the Utah Jazz.
I mean, it's like you guys
I'm
know
jealous
what a
of
good
that.
crowd is. Like we've all been to a Tigres game in Monterrey. Like it's a different, and you know, we've seen clips of like European crowds where Luca's from. It's just, you know, we don't have that. And will we have that as Luca evolves into, you know, a mega star, and he's like recognized now. I think even now he's recognized as like a top 3 player in the league, in the world. But you know, as he progresses, you know, will he get to like that, dare I say, like a Michael Jordan level esque, that, you know,
I
fans are
mean,
just, you know,
it's
coming to see
starting.
him.
It's
Yeah,
starting, man.
it's like
You're
that.
starting to see a lot of, Hispanic people who are never really into basketball are they're starting to relate more to the Mavericks because of Luca, who speaks Spanish, and he's very into that pop culture with reggaeton and all that. And I can see that he's headed towards that route, but I don't know. I mean, as us real Mavs fans who've been through the thick and thin, and those people that are fans and appreciate Dirk, but I think we appreciate the game more than just the team. That the team is this is our team. Because we're born and raised here in Dallas, Texas. But I think us, we have this. You guys started this because you love the game of basketball. That's my perspective. That's the way I see that's the way I see the league, is more just because I love the game of basketball more than just the team itself.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
but
Let's move. You mentioned the defensive tactics, Taton. What are you guys seeing? I love what the Mavericks are putting out on defense. Coach Kidd is just basically throwing out so many looks. It doesn't matter if Donovan Mitchell gets a switch unless it's on Davis Spartans. But Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxi, and Reggie Bullock all are switching on to Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell had a very inefficient game, 13 of 33 for 10 from deep, 34 points, but it wasn't effective. Like, it just, he made some amazing shots, but they were all tough. He had to fight for pretty much all of them. And on Rudy Gobert, I feel like the Mavs aren't doing anything special. They're just, whenever he gets the board, like they all collapse on him, and he has like 2 or 3 Mavericks swiping at the ball, and he looks frustrated. Honestly, he looked frustrated in game 2. But I just wanted to make note of that I love what I'm seeing from defense. It's really just all hustle and fight from the Mavericks, and just kind of like grit, that they're just kind of like throwing at all the looks at Donovan Mitchell, and just fighting for everything that they can, just being real scrappy. But
Yeah.
what else are you guys seeing on defense that you like?
I think the most important thing is that the Mavericks are running the Jazz off the 3-point line. That is
Yes.
that is a key, and I think that's the game plan that Jason Kidd drew up. Um, just anything they could do to prevent a 3, and that's what they've been doing. Like you said, they're really moving their feet. We've seen it all year, really, especially with Dorian Finney-Smith and Bullock. They can really recover easily. So them running them off the 3 is just crucial, and that's what's really, I think, in my opinion, changing the game in favor of the Mavericks.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's also
Absolutely.
Mike Conley. It's also stopping Mike Conley, the facilitator. Because you saw he had 4 fouls in the first half. And that's key too, because that's someone who's running your offense. That's someone who's running your offense, and yeah, like you said, Danny, you had the Mavericks chasing pushing the Jazz away from the 3-point line, and that's what helped. But you also saw Donovan Mitchell, just being Donovan Mitchell, who's what I like to call him double jointed Donovan Mitchell, because he's able to do his thing and just drive into the paint and score easily. But we shut down Bojan Bogdanovic. Jordan Clarkson was had to step up because Mike Conley was up, but he wasn't all that effective. But it's also what you were saying too, and just collapsing on Rudy Gobert. That's what's really helping us, because at the same time, we'll throw out a double team, and he's not able to kick it out. He's not able to kick it out to the perimeter. And that's what we've been seeing a lot. And you've been seeing those matchups like with the small ball lineups against the Jazz. The Jazz are also known to blow leads, too. So, and that's what, in my mind, I think that's what's helping us is trapping Rudy and just collapsing it on him and just pressuring the defense, on top of the perimeter.
Yeah, and Danny, you mentioned the three pointers. The Jazz are the second in the regular season. They were the second team in 3-point attempts at 40.3 attempts a game. Only attempted 29 here in game 2. So, and you hear Jason Kidd talking about things like this in the post game, but like you said, running them off the 3-point line, making them think they have an advantage with Rudy Gobert when they really don't. You saw them try to make a concerted effort to throw it to him in the post even more. And it just doesn't work. Like, he's not effective as a post player. And like the alley oops they threw, like he wasn't connecting. One of them was like behind him, and he couldn't really catch the lob right. But it's just, I don't know. I think it's affecting Rudy Gobert, and he's just not good on offense right now.
See, and because Rudy's a crybaby, you saw him. He was expecting. He was expecting to get called. He was expecting to get those calls. And most of the time, you saw what you were saying, Andres. Like that was Dwight Powell who's pressuring him to kick it out, and who would make Maxey too.
Maxey, I think Maxey
both of them
played a huge role on defense.
Yeah,
as well
man.
In this game.
And it's great, and it's amazing to see, man, that this small ball lineup is so effective against one of the best offensive teams in the league. I think they were the best offensive team in the league, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So Quinn Snyder mentioned, I don't have the exact quote, but he said, if we're out rebounding you by 20, you might want to rethink small ball. Well, they actually won the boards 50-31. So they won the rebounding battle 50-31, but they lost the game.
And second chance points too.
Oh my God, we got murdered on second chance.
Second chance points, and,
but they lost the game. And what do you guys think? Do you think they can beat small ball?
No, I
think we're just too fast.
The thing is like Rudy. Whenever they drive, he has to help because just the Jazz are getting blown out. I mean, blown by Jalen Brunson and Spencer Dinwiddie, like almost every possession, and Rudy needs to be there to help, and that just leads to wide open 3-pointer by Maxey or Dorian or Reggie Bullock in the corner. So he's, I mean. He's gonna be played off the floor, or if Quinn Snyder doesn't make any adjustments, like he needs to make adjustments.
See and what you were seeing a lot too was Spencer Dinwiddie or Jalen Brunson attack the basket, and they knew like Rudy's always gonna be there, so they played it smart and they would kick it out, and we saw a lot of those threes go in because of that, and especially with Maxey, so that's also another adjustment that you can see from the Jazz making, but that was something that we had to our advantage, because we pretty much had the entire paint was just completely wide open because they knew we're a perimeter team. We like to play around the perimeter, but in this case, we're just a faster team. We're just a better defensive team, and this is a Utah team that can't keep up with us, in my opinion.
Yeah, Danny, we mentioned it before the pod that Gobert can't guard on the perimeter. Like, he just can't move out and have the same effect if he has to go out and guard on the 3. So whether he's guarding Dorian or Maxey now, that they played Dwight less, that's a positive for the Mavericks because he's not guarding the paint.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Sorry, and then one more thing. I mean, when Spencer Dinwiddie got onto Rudy Gobert and he backed all the way up, and he drove right by him for a layup. I was like, that's it. That's the kryptonite. Like the Mavericks just need to see that. Whoever Rudy gets switched onto, you need to back all the way up and just drive as fast as you can. You're gonna get a layup or an open three.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just that simple. So if and I saw on the first game, Dorian Finney-Smith had one shot to dunk over Rudy Gobert, and he didn't take it. He was like a head start of steam, and Rudy was right there in the paint, and I understand why he wouldn't. Who would want to try that? But then later in the game, in game one, the Mavericks would throw up like these weak layups over Rudy Gobert, and he would gobble them all up for blocks. And I think the tone changed in game two, where they kind of saw an avenue to where they can beat him. They kind of saw like, we're only going to beat him if we do a foot race to the rim, or we just shoot over threes over him, and we have to make them, and that's what Maxi did.
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead, Danny.
I was gonna say, I mean, game one, I feel like they took a lot of chances on Rudy, and that's how he got those 2 blocks. And he did affect so many shots. Like game one, I think they were just so scared to attack inside, and they made a lot of crucial mistakes whenever they did get stuck attacking, getting out their feet and attacking. You saw Spencer Dinwiddie go up and just throw the ball, turn over the ball because he's up in the air going against Rudy Gobert. But this game two, they kind of made adjustments and played smarter, I think. And as far as attacking him, like you said, they just didn't go straight at him anymore. They kind of relaxed and took their time and found a great shot, not like game one, because I feel like game one they were just so nervous. I mean, they're playing without your franchise player, and it's just nerve wracking. But game two, I feel like they did kind of relax and played way smarter. We saw the only person that had turnovers was Spencer Dinwiddie this game. So they made an adjustment.
0 turnovers for JB too, man. It's crazy. I mean,
Go ahead, Tati.
I was just gonna say, you said, you were telling me earlier, Danny, game one would be the game to steal for the Mavericks. I think game three has to be the game to steal for the Mavs, because this is the real challenge. This is the real challenge right here. Because Utah's going to come back even harder, especially when they're playing in home court. They got embarrassed. So, I mean, I think the Mavericks also see that, because they're not dwelling on, this win and saying, oh yeah, look, we can beat them. No, this is the real challenge is going into Utah and taking game three. That's the game to steal. But, even when Luka comes back, hopefully he comes back pretty soon, supposedly he's supposed to come back on game three or game four. But, I think, even when we do get Luka, this is going to be a cakewalk for us, because, like you were mentioning, Andres, the kryptonite against Rudy Gobert is, getting him all the way out to almost to half court, and drawing him out, and so you can just attack into the basket. But now you have Luka, who's a savant in doing that, and who can easily kick it out to Jalen Brunson or Spencer Dinwiddie, who can give you those jab shots like the mid range or whatever, something to keep us afloat in this game three.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just how the Jazz attack Davis Bertans anytime he's on the floor, I think the Mavericks should do the same, but towards Rudy Gobert or Bojan Bogdanovic. Now you say attack Rudy Gobert, that's dumb, but no, just the way that Spencer did. Back him all the way up or shoot a three over him, whoever gets switched onto him. Get him out of the paint, get these switches going. And Bojan too. I feel like if we attack Bojan, might be one of their weakest defenders, and he's going to get tired if he's not going to have the energy to play good on offense. So I think the Mavericks need to start scheming that up too on offense to get those switches and get those favorable matchups, even though they may not seem favorable, but it's something to attack, instead of just relying on Jalen Brunson to save the day every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, like, you need players like Dorian Finney-Smith to step up. Josh Green needs to, yes, I give him credit, but at the same time, if he's allowed to take those corner threes and he has not made them, that's something that needs to be adjusted to, because even when he got onto switches with Rudy, there were a few moments where he did actually take his time, and you saw he hit that mid-range shot, but there's a lot more on this team that needs to be improved, but I still feel confident that we can take this series against them. And coming up for game 3, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think we lose game 3. I think game 3 is going to be the game that the Jazz come back even harder. But I still think that the Mavs, even that's the thing about the playoffs. When you lose, you're able to make adjustments quickly, and you'll barely see another blowout. I mean, unless you're the Nuggets, who are just getting obliterated in these playoffs. But I mean, this is something the Mavs are good about too. I personally think we're not going to win game 3, but I think that Jason Kidd is going to make the proper adjustments to come back in game 4 with Luka, potentially, to come back even harder and win in Utah finally after potentially 12 games in a row.
Danny, you mentioned it in the text thread. Winning last night gives the Mavericks some breathing room to rest Luka some more. So it bought them time, is what it did. Because if they had gone down 2-0, then the urgency would have been different. It would have been way different, and now the Mavericks would have been scrambling to get Luka back and maybe, jeopardize his health in a way if coming back too early was going to hurt him more.
Yeah, and it's all up to Quinn Snyder, I think, to make. I mean, he seems like a stubborn dude. I mean, like he said in that post game, keep trying to play small ball. So I don't think he's gonna make adjustments. And I think the way that the Mavs are playing right now, that's perfectly what I mean. You're playing into their hands. They want you to be big.
Arrogance can kill you.
Yeah, they want
arrogance could kill you, man.
They want you to play big. So they just need to execute. I mean, this is probably the best executed playoff game for the Mavericks in a long time. They just did the game plan. They stuck to the game plan so perfectly.
Yeah,
and that's what really got them. That's what really got them the win.
And even when we were down by 10, you saw like that they weren't fazed by that. They weren't fazed by being down by 10.
Kudos to Jason Kidd for sticking with it. How many Mavs fans were clamoring for Boban to get in the game?
Oh my God, you're dumb.
So,
whoever asked for Boban,
I know, man. Like,
I'm just saying
honestly,
it right now. You're stupid. Whoever thought to put Boban.
Boban can match up with Rudy Gobert. Fuck off. Like,
kudos to Jason Kidd for sticking with it. And you meant I'm forgetting which one of you mentioned the turnovers, but the Mavericks only 3 turnovers this game is big, is huge, and they were all by Spencer Dinwiddie. Like, Jalen Brunson had no turnovers with 41 points. The amount of touches he got and no turnovers was insane. And Jason Kidd after the game says, yeah, we're gonna lose rebounding. I don't care. Like, I care about turnovers and the final score. That's all I care about. And he knows what he's doing. Like, he knows the strategy is working. So I think again, like, I hate to reference kryptonite again, but like, Quinn Snyder didn't want us to learn about this kryptonite. He didn't want us to learn about that. So I think that's why he made that comment, because he wants us to go big with them. But he knows ultimately that the small ball is gonna be like detrimental to this Utah Jazz team.
The thing is, we don't even have anybody besides Boban to throw at them. Like,
that's what I was gonna mention too. Like, who else are we gonna put? Like, Marquise Chris? Like, we don't have anybody else.
No, yeah, exactly. When they made the Kristaps trade, they knew that this is what they were gonna run.
They went all in.
Yeah, this is small ball was what they were gonna run, and
it's like Moneyball with Billy Bean. Like, they went all in.
Exactly. They saw the analytics and it pointed towards small
Shout
ball
out
for
the
the
Moneyball.
But
that's my favorite sports movie of all time.
Great movie. It is a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but you guys are right. Honestly, I mean, Jason. Shout out to Jason Kidd because I mean, you saw like even Jeff Skinway was alluding to this down in the stretch. Down in the stretch of the fourth quarter. He was saying, how noticeable it is how Jason Kidd's just making adjustments, defensive adjustments mid game. And it's crazy. That these players are just so bought into that. It's such a great thing to see that these players that our players are trusting our coach with such a coach who has a voice in this league.
Yeah,
dude, I freaking love it. I love it. Like they just all of a sudden they're like, okay, now let's do zone. All right, now let's do no switching. All right, now let's do doubling. Like it's just like I love it. I love how they just like you said, they just are bought in. Like they know what Jason Kidd wants and they believe in it more importantly.
Like they're not scrambling out there. Everybody's just sticking to what is being told. They're doing their job, and really you're seeing that, and even though in game one, we did lose that game, but at the same time, the Mavericks were playing great. There wasn't a point where the Mavericks were down by 15 and and you could see the game slipping away from them. You saw this team has great resiliency and is able to come back and is able to stick to what is being told to them, to their jobs.
Yep.
Sure absolutely. Tatis, you mentioned it briefly, but Luka Doncic, according to Shams, is most likely going to make his series debut in Game 3 or Game 4.
I was like, oh, is there an update? I was like, oh, he's making his debut in Game 3. I thought that's where you're going.
My bad.
See, but guys, like, I mean, Game 2 and Game 1 gave us a great look of how well-rounded of a team we are. But you're saying, Danny, this bought us some, Luke. Game 2 bought us some time with Luka's timetable to return. But how far do we want to push that? Like I say, Mavs in 7 and all that, but at the same time, there still has to be this sense of urgency of, no, we need you back because you are the missing piece to this championship, to what could be a championship team, and that's why I only ask, how far is Jason Kidd going to push Luka being out, and how does he want to, how far will he push to see this team, play without Luka?
I think, guys, like as much as I'd love to say like, oh, we can battle out with anybody in the league, but I think we're one piece away from being a true championship contender. We're just one piece away. I'd really love it to be a lockdown defender who can create off the dribble and like a Kawhi Leonard, but I think we're just that one piece away. Not saying that it has to take Kawhi Leonard, but kind of like that kind of player, like just lockdown defender, can create off the dribble, create his own offense. The thing is, if the medicals are saying that if Luka comes back, he could jeopardize his Achilles, or he could jeopardize a more serious injury, then I don't want him to come back. Even if it means losing the series.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, but I don't know. What do you guys think? If the doctors say he's all good, he's clear, he's not jeopardizing anything else, like anything that happens is just going to be a fluke injury, then cool, like bring him back, like that's fine. But if he's at risk at all, I would prefer him to sit.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna take them. They're gonna look at everything before they make the decision, obviously. But
yeah,
I just think Jason Kidd and the organization is gonna see. I think Game 3 is kind of the measure. I don't think he's gonna come back Game 3. If Game 3 it stays the same storyline as it has the first 2 games, when they're really close, and they can, compete, they will probably push it as far back as they can for him to come back.
Yeah,
and that's gonna go ahead.
I was gonna say I mean, I already said, I think we're gonna lose game 3, but if you were to think that way, do you think the Mavs would still be competitive playing in Utah,
I
like
think
how we
they're gonna be
played in game
competitive. Yeah,
1?
of course.
Oh
I
yeah,
In
think so.
game
Yeah.
1, or
I
because
think
that's what
they
we're
have a
that
serious opportunity to win.
that's what worries me. I mean, just because, going into Utah is the biggest challenge. That, game 3 is really what's gonna give you an eye look into this series and how it can play out. I don't think it's gonna define who's a clear cut winner, but it'll just show that how big of a challenge it is to go into Utah for this team. And if we do lose, I think we are going to we're going to make proper adjustments to come back, but it's still the biggest challenge. I think this is the game to steal. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I think it's huge, like a very important game. What's the statistic? Something like whoever in a series tied, when one wins game 3 goes on to win like 80% of the time, something like that. I mean, the numbers just basically, state that, it's a very huge, important game. And I think more for the Mavericks players who I mentioned in game 1 kind of looked, jittery and kind of looked, inexperienced and just kind of scared of the like deer in headlights. Are they going to be the same going into Utah with that hostile crowd?
Mm-hmm.
So just that's going to be interesting, but it's a huge game. And I think if the Mavericks pull it off, or they're competitive, I think that's going to be huge for Luka's timetable too. That buys him even more time,
Oh
just to
yeah,
be
dude.
on the safe side.
I was thinking if we actually win, I think, keep Luka out until like game 6 or game 7, man. And I would want him as healthy as possible to deliver that knockout punch to push
Maybe the
us into that
closer,
game,
like in baseball.
to be the closer, just to get us into the second round. That's
Yeah.
what I would want, honestly, because if we win that game 3 without Luka, that just shows how well rounded of a team and well coached we are, and we're a serious threat. We really are, because we should be a lottery team. We really should, but this is just something different, something that I don't think anybody in the NBA has ever seen, really.
So what needs to go right for the Mavericks for them to get a game 3 win?
Our defense has to be on point. We need to run them off the 3.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say exactly. Just like you said earlier, Danny, and Tatis, run them off the 3, limit their 3-point baskets. Also, try to get Boyan tired. Try to limit Rudy's effectiveness on defense. Try to space him out. I think there's just the same things that went on in game 2, but a little bit less of Jalen Brunson's heroics and more of a team effort. Or unless Jalen Brunson wants to just go off again, I'll gladly take that too. But
see, and I think he in his head, he's the leader. Like he came into game 2 or in the series already knowing that he's going to be that guy. And when you saw his performance, he shot what, 10, 16 for, or 10 for 26 or something like that in game 1.
Yeah,
he
has
it was inefficient. Yeah.
Very inefficient game. But it's at the same time, he knows that, like, this, when I need to score, and he knows when he has to step up and take those easy mid-range shots to keep us leveled into the game. So that's something that I'm betting on as a fan, to see that he's gonna be our Luka, and everybody's playing around him.
Yeah,
I think we need a big Spencer Dinwiddie game.
I was gonna say
I think we need a
yeah.
nice Dinwiddie game where he shoots efficiently, he's facilitating, he can create his own shot. The past 2 games he's been shooting like 30%, and that's just not going to cut it if the Mavericks are going to win the series.
Yeah, Spencer Dinwiddie needs a huge game. Before the series started, I was like, he needs a 30-point game at least.
Yeah.
For the Mavericks to have a great chance to win. We did get that JB 40-point game, so we got that W. But now we need a Spencer Dinwiddie 30-point game.
Yep.
Just the way he attacks and the way he drives to the basket is just, I mean, it's great for the team.
That's what helped us. That's what helped us win game 2. You know,
Yeah.
you just
And him
need
getting
him to
to the
get it
line,
going.
him getting to the line is huge. So we need more
Yeah,
of that.
because he.
Yeah. And
what
another,
do you think needs to go right, Danny?
I think the key thing is the 3-hitter monster is Maxi Kleber, Bullock, and Finney Smith. Those 3 I think are key to the I think to win the series. In general, is them hitting the 3. That is what is gonna propel us over the Jazz. So them being consistent, we saw they were getting looks in game 1, they just weren't hitting. But game 2, obviously, we saw what happened. So that just needs to keep continuing, and the way to do that is like penetrating and kicking out, and that's the best way to win the series.
And yeah, I can even live with Maxi just having a great defensive game, and Reggie hitting all his threes. That I can live with that too. Just for our other role guys besides JB and Spencer Dinwiddie.
Honestly, just two of them need to hit like 35% or more of their threes. And I think that's very doable. Reggie Bullock usually hits that clip. Maxi, I know he's not going to shoot 72% from 3 all the time. But, I'm very confident that Dodo, Maxi, or Bullock can really shoot a high clip of at any given moment.
Also, another key thing for them to get a win in Utah is more Maxi and less Dwight Powell, unfortunately. Without Luka, Dwight Powell just isn't the same X factor we were talking about before going to the playoffs. That pick and roll isn't there anymore because it's just so hard to pass him, give him a good pass over Rudy. So without Luka, so that I think that part of our game is eliminated this series without Luka. So more minutes for Maxi, I think, and we saw him fight for some great rebounds against Rudy. So I could make the argument for Maxi to start instead, but I mean we can't really ruin the rotation right now. But definitely more Maxi instead of Dwight Powell.
Because I mean that's something we have now. I mean it's consistency. It was we saw with Rick Carlisle, our lineups changed every fucking minute, every fucking
That's
game.
true.
But now we have it's true. Like now we have some consistency, man. But I think that's what is helping us. It's not necessarily it's not necessarily just the adjustments. It's the consistency that Jason Kidd has with this team, and that's something that the players are used to because now they know what they need to do and they're mastering their craft exactly the tasks that is handed to them.
Yeah.
Guys, the only concern I have is the rotation in terms of besides Maxi Kleber coming off the bench, who else is stepping up?
There's nobody else.
You even saw Trey Burke get a spurt in there, which he scored at 3.
Hey, shout out to Trey, man. Shout out to Trey for immediately hitting that 3 for coming right after coming in.
But I mean, Josh Green can't hit a shot, or he won't take a shot. That's why he got yanked. Davis Bertans is just getting hunted on defense. I don't know what else we can do. I mean, you're looking at Sterling Brown, Marquise Chris, Boban. I think what I want to see, I think Frank Ntilikina can have this Corey Brewer moment.
Isn't he
I don't
injured?
know.
He didn't.
Yeah, he's on he's on recovery.
Oh, he has an illness. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Do you think Frank Ntilikina can come in and just muck it up and just have that Corey Brewer moment where he's just everywhere, just getting boards and just I don't know. I feel he can do that.
I was thinking Trey Burke. Trey Burke.
You think?
I would rather want Trey Burke 80 minutes than Josh Green, unfortunately. Josh Green does give us more defense, but what's really hurting the Utah Jazz is, again, penetrating and the small guards. The small guards, they suffer with the small guards. So, I mean, I'd rather give him some more minutes than Josh Green.
I love Josh Green, but he's gonna have to be more confident taking.
He's a huge defense, but the thing is, he's a huge defensive liability. I mean, that's why you haven't really seen him get minutes this season, because he doesn't fit the aesthetic of the defense Jason Kidd's trying to put out.
I think it'd be the same. He'd get hunted too.
He would get hunted.
Yeah,
especially with Boyan.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. He's not able to really create space to get his own shot off. He's not all that great. I mean, he's great, with, his occasional threes, and sometimes he can go off like he did against Houston last year for us. But at the same time, I was going to mention, maybe have Davis Bertans attacking the rim, because you see he has those spurts where he can attack the rim and, give you a dunk potentially, but maybe, you have him penetrating the basket and maybe kicking it out, and you can swing the ball,
No.
I mean, but that's the thing, it's just an adjustment maybe that they can do, because you can have him penetrating and then kicking it out to the left corner, and then have that person and let, like, maybe Dorian Finney-Smith attack the basket, and you have Davis Bertans right there at the left to shoot that three.
It's because
I don't know.
That's not the issue. Like, I think Trey Burke and Bertans, I don't mind them on offense, but they're gonna get hunted on defense. Josh Green, I don't mind on defense, but nobody's guarding Josh Green. Like, Rudy Gobert can just chill in the paint.
Exactly.
Versus Josh Green.
And that's not the game plan.
What I'm thinking, like, Frank Ntilikina is gonna be fine on defense, and he's confident offensive player too. Like, we saw him. I mentioned in the regular season, like, he can facilitate. Like, Jason Kidd even tried him as point guard for a little bit for like a 2-3 game stretch there in the regular season. I think Frank Ntilikina is the answer.
There's lots of minutes to be had, because besides Maxi, there's no one else in our bench that's really been a factor this series.
Honestly, the only reason that Burke and Green and Bertans are getting minutes is just to give a breather to everybody else.
Dude, like, this is right now. It's a 6-game rotation, a 6-player rotation.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, we expected this going into the postseason. Like I said, the postseason, you don't have, your bench cleared. It's not a 12-man rotation. It's an 8-man or less.
It's 8-man, but we have 6.
We have 6. So, but imagine, like,
we are missing our best player.
We are missing our best player, and our 6-man rotation is doing so much damage against the 8 or 9 rotation that Utah's throwing out, because they have other weapons. Juancho Hernan Gomez is there. Jordan Clarkson, Royce O'Neal is very effective. But that's also another upside that you can see in this team. Imagine when you have Luka back, who undeniably makes other players better. You can have a good game from Davis Bertans. You can have Josh Green potentially hitting his threes. That's probably the big factor, is just Luka, because that right now we're talking about a team that doesn't have their star, and how we're running a 6-man rotation, and it's effective. That in my opinion, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But in this case, it's broke. It's broken, but it's not all too broken to where we need to make complete adjustment, like a complete 180 or 360 turn. Right now we're just missing our star player, and when he comes back, you could maybe even start to see a 9-man rotation with this team, because that's how good Luka is. He makes other players better.
Yeah.
For sure. Do you guys have anything to add before we give our predictions for Game 3? I know, Tatis, you already gave your prediction, but do you guys have anything else?
Sorry, I like to spoil things.
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just, I think we said everything that's had to be said, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I have faith in this team. I know that they see it and they have confidence in themselves. And you have someone like Jason Kidd who's probably not even satisfied with this win. He's like, no, I think in the mind of Jason Kidd, there's always there. You could always be better, just like how he couldn't shoot the three coming into the league and completely changed that. And you saw that, with the 2011 win. But I think in his mind, this isn't over yet. This series isn't over. He has a bigger mind. His goals are far greater than just, than dwelling on a game 2 win. I think he's looking at the mistakes we made in game 2, and that's what he's preaching to the guys to adjust.
Sure. Well, I'm gonna go with the Mavericks getting a victory in game 3. I don't know. I feel like this team is bought in. They're all in. They're confident in themselves, and I don't know. I like the vibes. The vibes are sensational.
The vibes are
and immaculate.
Yes.
Well, I said it's a game 3 loss, but I'm just gonna say now I think it's a blowout.
Oh.
I don't think it's like a 30-point blowout or anything like that.
15
I think like a 15, like 17, 20, potentially. Like the biggest lead will probably be like 23 for the Jazz, but I mean overall it'll probably be like a 15 to 17 point win for the Jazz.
I just think the Mavs have their number now. Like they don't care if they get out rebounded, which is, Utah's supposed advantage, and Donovan Mitchell can score 35, and it just doesn't matter. And I don't know. I like how this is going. What's your prediction, Danny?
I think I'm gonna go with Tatis here as well. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. It's gonna be competitive, but I just don't see.
Screw you guys. No.
Look, and I'm usually the positive one, right? I'm usually the positive one.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I'm usually the positive one, man.
I was surprised.
It's because look, I only say that because I don't want to underestimate my opponent.
Yeah.
And we've seen the Jazz are not a team to underestimate. That's the thing, man. Like this is a Jazz team that is only missing Rudy Gay. But other than that, they have the same squad they've been rolling with and going into the playoffs with. Yeah, they have experience. So that's something that I can't undermine. And we as a team, we're playing great, and I know we're bought into to Jason Kidd's coaching tactics and everything. But at the same time, I think Quinn Snyder is dwelling on this game 2 loss and is making the proper adjustments. And I think, they're going to take game 3. But on the positive side, Jason Kidd has that advantage too, where we can make the proper adjustments with loss. Imagine when we do lose and the adjustments we make, and we potentially get Luka back for game 4. I think I just think that we still can win this series, but game 3 is only going to be a teaching game for us, because I think the Jazz are going to come back even harder, and they're pissed.
Yeah, that's what
they're pissed.
I think that's why we're gonna lose, is that they just got embarrassed. Like, I was talking to Andres before. You got on the call on Tatis. I was like, I mean, as a Jazz fan, imagine how angry you are. I mean, imagine as a player, how like frustrating it is losing to a team that
their backup point guard just went up would just put up 41 points with 0 turnovers on national TV.
It's embarrassing. So that's why I'm just like, if they're gonna come out strong against that loud crowd in Utah. So a lot of things can go right for the Jazz, and a lot of things could go wrong for the Mavs. So that's why I'm kind of saying it's gonna be a Utah win, but we'll see. Everything has been, I mean, the opposite from what I've been thinking. So We'll see how it goes.
Hey, Andres, I was gonna ask you, is there another series that you've been like keeping your eye on as of recent? I know like Philly and Toronto is not really a series to look at. Boston and the Nets is an obvious one, but I mean, do you have another one that you've been keeping an eye on?
I mean, to be quite honest, guys, I barely have enough time to look at the Mavs, but I am excited for Grizzlies and Timberwolves.
That's a good series.
I know they just
was
got
my
blown
pick.
out. I know the Timberwolves just got blown out. They stole game one with Anthony Edwards scoring 36. But I love Anthony Edwards and John Morant, so that's why I like that series. Just looking at those two going head to head.
I think that series is going 7-2, man. I mean, John Morant, I think the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves are just a completely different matchup. I think, the Grizzlies don't really match up that well with the Timberwolves. That's why they lost game one. That's why the Timberwolves stole game one. But they made the proper adjustments and, blew them out the second game. But I still think this series is going to go 7 because, man, like, they just match up so awkwardly, and it's crazy, man. It's just crazy. You're going to see a great game from Karl Anthony Towns, John Morant, maybe even Dillon Brooks, man. It's a great series.
I like Dillon
Did you
Brooks.
guys see the Pelicans beat the Suns?
I just saw that, yeah.
Devin Booker, man, he got a hamstring injury.
Oh, hamstrings are tough.
Have you been looking at another series, Danny?
I'll be honest with you, no, I haven't. I mean, I've been seeing highlights and stuff, but like I'm the same way. Like it's hard to find time.
I barely have time for it.
Yeah.
But I think.
Really, why can't we be rich, guys? Why can we be fucking rich, man?
I wake up every day thinking that, but
if you guys hit the like and subscribe on YouTube, that can happen.
Yeah, hey, you can help us out. You can help live our dream. You can help us, live our dream, and we can provide you excellent content. Just hit that like and subscribe.
On that note, we should wrap.
Yep, I have nothing else.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for listening to another edition of the Blue Cavalry. My name is Andres Reyes. Please follow the pod on Twitter at the Blue Cavalry. Please like and subscribe on YouTube at the Blue Cavalry as well. If you guys want to sign off.
Follow me on Twitter as well at Mr. Danny Reyes. And that's it.
Alexis Nami here. Mavs in 7. I hate you casuals.
Don't be a gatekeeper. Stop gatekeeping, goddammit.
Stop the Maxi slander. I love the Mavericks. Peace out.
Mavs win game 3. Love you, Bobby.
Bye.